nice and quick. We are sending out mobility screenings that are different from the ones that you've previously had. So these are the new ones, they are better. Please do them, and please do the checklist and check over the things that are going to make you better at the mobility stuff that you've identified that you need to work on. And then let's move on with the program for this week. What's up, downhillers and enduro guys? This is reload week. We're going to combine your programs because the movements are similar. It's reload, so the intensity isn't super high and the load is a lot less. We'll go our separate directions next week, but for now we're going to be working on either your tests. So these are the new tests. If you've been on the program for a while, you might need to do these so that we can move forwards on percentages, etc. of these tests. So check those out during the program. If you've recently done them, then just follow the program on with these movements and workouts as prescribed. The first one is going to be a snatch grip deadlift, but before we do that, we're going to do a little warm up and we're going to look at the positions in this and the requirements so that you can get the best out of this new movement. So it's going to be very hamstringy. Tightness in there is going to restrict some positions. So as a warm up, 5 minutes steady state on bike. Rower would be preferable. So rowing, because it's a hingy movement, that's going to be great to warm you up. If you don't have that bike, skier, whatever, go out for a run. Come back in. Lots of lunges. So let's say 10 each side, forwards lunges, then 10 each side, backwards lunges. Once you've done that, Cossack squats with your foot flat on the ground. So pushing that knee out far forwards of your toe, this leg, just reach a little further, Pat, straighter. So we get a nice pull into the groin. Do that 6 times each side with 2 feet flat. Then 6 times each side with the toe pointing up. Once you've done that, lay on your back. Use a band. You're going to hold the band and you're going to spend a little time in a stretch focusing on keeping your hips square on and both butt cheeks on the ground. And from there, 20 seconds in the stretch at least, then you're going to pull your heel down and fight against the band for 6 seconds, hard as you can, lots of tension in the hamstring, then release that and go deeper into the stretch. So each time you go on with the muscle, you're going super tight, and then when you relax, you're not letting go of the stretch whatsoever. In fact, you're going the other way. So you're going deeper into the stretch. Do that 3 times round each side. Then you're going to grab a lighter band pull apart. So we want to get fired up in the upper mid back for supporting this bar. Try and keep off the traps. Keep all of the pressure down onto the lats, into the mid back here. A light band. It doesn't have to be hard work. I want you to do 20 of these. Break it up if you feel any kind of burn. And then we're going to be about ready for these snatch grip deadlifts. So we recommend taking it out of a rack so that you're not lifting it off the ground. Because your hands are wider on the bar, so if you come in close here, Johnny, you want your hands on the bar, so the bar then rests on your pubic bone. That's right on the hinge of your hip there. Take another step back, Pat. Because your arms are wide, if you were to pick that from the ground and you're already finding it difficult to pick up a deadlift bar because of tight hamstrings and positions, this is just going to make it even more difficult. But we want to focus on the hinge like a deadlift. So we're starting from the top, keeping shins vertical. So the point of this is that you go as far down as you can. Stop. Maintaining a lower back curve, tension in the upper mid back. So you squeeze in here, go soft so we can see. So we want to avoid this position. Everything's locked down and then stand up. Keeping the bar just no more than an inch away from the thigh, all the way down. So keeping it super close, vertical shins, as far as you can with vertical shins. See, this is rounded too far. So that's What would happen with vertical shins if Pat were to pick it up from the ground? We're not going from the ground, we're going from the top. I want you to do 12 to 15 of these with a pretty light weight. You can put a little bit on to get some feedback, but it's going to fire up into your hamstrings. But importantly, and the reason why we're doing a snatch grip, is the benefits of the upper mid-back strength. So feel this movement, because we're going to be doing more of these in the coming weeks. Once you've done that, as a warm-up, or if you feel like you've done enough, quite a lot of work there, then test your 3 rep max deadlift, test your 3 rep max squat, and then we'll move on to the workout, which, if you haven't done the tests, is the 2-minute tests. So there's going to be wall balls, burpees, toes to bar, calories on the bike or rower or ski erg or whatever you have access to. So do those tests, or if you've already done the tests, you're going to take 40% of your 2-minute max and you're going to do on the minute every minute wall balls. So by now you should know the importance is in the squat and the explosive movement, not so much about hitting the target. You're going to do that number. So whatever 40% of your number was, you're going to stop there, and then you're going to rest until the next minute. Then you're going to do 40% of your burpees. And then you're going to rest the remaining time. Then you're going to do 40% of the calories that you chose, preferably on an assault bike. Then on minute 4, you're going to rest. And you're going to do that 5 times round. So that'll be a decent workout. And then, without missing any kind of intensity, we're going to shorten it down 10 times 10 seconds. So on the minute, every minute, just 10 seconds. Super hard blast, 100% effort. Puke. And that's it for day 1. Moving on to day 2, quick warm up. 5 minutes on something upper body. So it would be good if it was a ski erg, a rowing machine, a bike with focus on pushing and pulling with the arms. And then you're going to do 5 press-ups, standard press-ups, and then hang from the bar. First time round, just hang for 20 to 30 seconds, just a free hang, come back off. 5 press-ups again. You don't need to do that, Pat. Next time, onto the bar, 20 to 30 seconds, but this time you're going to be moving your shoulder blades around, trying to get movement through without bending the elbow and using your arms. So you're going to fire up these shoulder blades and get those working. Then next time, 5 more press-ups, and then this time a little bit more of a dramatic hang and scapular pull, so you're changing body position. So it's not just an inactive passive hang, but you're then going to bring your hips up a little bit, get into a hollow position, start working there. Then, once you've done that 3-rounder, grab the band on your wrist. We'll get this global stretch through the lat. So right hand on means right foot back and out to the side, twisting the palm up, and then you should feel all the way down your lat. Spend about 2 minutes in that position each side, and then we're going to move on to pressing. And just before we start pressing, we're going to be establishing a front rack position. So this mobility is literally just pushing that position and feeling for it. So if you come in close here, the bar is going to be on your shoulder, and then you're pushing the elbow high. If you do have a friend to help, they can help this position by pushing up. Don't stress it if you don't. Hold this position and push your elbow as high as you can, and you'll feel a stretch through the position that we're trying to get to on the push press. So if you've tested recently, you'll have done the 3 rep max press, strict press. So we're going to practice a new movement, push press. So it's really important here that if you can, and this is the reason why we don't do a lot of barbell work overhead, is shoulder mobility, wrist issues, collarbones, all of this that might restrict what we call front rack position, which is the bar resting directly on the shoulder and not too much weight in the hand or on the collarbone at the front. With the bar here, that means as Pat dips with his knees, with a vertical torso and then extends, all the power from his legs goes straight into the bar via a nice tight core, and there's not a lot happening with his arms. So when he pushes even harder, he can just follow the momentum with his arms, which means that most of the work's been done with his legs, which means we can probably get heavier weights, but most importantly, more engagement around the body. So as a part A of today, you either test your 3 rep max again on the press, or you just warm up to the press, and both, either the testers or the regular program people that have tested recently, then start working up on the push press technique to something that feels a medium weight, but not too testing. So absolutely don't max out on your push press today. And that's it for part A. Second part of day 2 is going to be, for testers, 2,000 meter row tests. If you've done that recently, then 4 sets of 750 meters with a 2-minute rest in between. Pace that at round about your 2,000 meter pace. So if you did that 2,000 meters in 7 minutes, then your pace on this should be around 145. And then moving on to core. Set a timer for 10 minutes, accumulate as long as you can in an L position. Point toes, heels above hips, nice lat engagement. I'm doing this because I know Pat struggles. So that would be a good 7 seconds. So you mark that down, 7 seconds, rest, go again, 1, 2, 8 seconds. Right, Pat's going to scale this down because it's a weak area for him. He's going to go to knee raises. So the knee then is over the hip, and the heels are in front of the vertical line of the knee. And this way we can record that position. When you get more confident, then you can start putting your feet forwards, getting into a full L position. If you struggle with that, then hang with the bar, point the toes forwards, and you just bring in your feet to about a 45-degree angle in this hollow position. This is going to replicate a lot of the benefits of this static position whilst hanging from the bar. And that's it for day 2. Okay, day 3, part A. So if you only train for 2 days this week, it's important that you put this in somewhere as a practice so that you familiarize yourself before we start loading next week. It is a split stance good morning. What we're looking for here is, if you take a look at the feet, it's squat width with the feet, and this line, so the reason Pat's between mats here, this line is on the back of the front heel and the toe of the back foot. Then you can start hinging. So with the bar in a back squat position, this front knee needs to be no further forwards than vertical shin, but if you can, pull it back a little bit more, because ultimately what we want is the biggest change of angle in the hip here. So it's going to be this front glute and hamstring, primarily the glute, that's going to get a massive stretch and then a stand. This might feel familiar to the snatch grip deadlift that we did, because these next few weeks are going to be focusing on the hinge quite a lot. So you're going to do this 12 to 15 times, maybe 2 or 3 times each side, just to familiarize yourself with the movement. And then part B is going to be a capacity workout, lots of stuff going on. Pay attention. There's 2 parts. They are the same style workout. So you set a timer, and every 3 minutes you alternate between 1 and 2. So on a 3-minute clock, you've got 2 minutes to do 15 calories on a bike or a rower or a ski erg, and in the remaining time, as many wall balls as you can within that 2 minutes. So if it takes you a minute to do 15 calories, it's then a minute of wall balls, and then you rest a minute, and the next minute is a 200-meter run and as many kettlebell swings as you can in the remaining 2 minutes. And you alternate between those until you've done it 5 times each. That's 30 minutes, the full 30-minute workout, 5 times each. So let's take a quick look at the kettlebell swing. So just to recap, priority is on lower back curve, being nice and solid through the midline, initiate through the glutes and hamstrings. It's going to be a Russian swing. So this is eye level, but that doesn't mean that you just get eye level by any means. It means that it's a big hinge when you face in your arms or following the kettlebell as you go. If you were to do less of a hinge and more quads, so staying more upright, it's a little bit more squatty. This is a change of direction through your hip. We want to stick to the hinge today because that's the theme of what we're doing with this workout. So the two differences is squatty kettlebell swings, hingy kettlebell swings. Stick to the hinge today. And then to finish, Durante's core. Pat's favorite.
Yes.
10 hollow rocks. Then 10 V-ups. Was that 10? And then 10 tucks. And then 10-second hollow hold. Oh. Today, we're going to work on a max set. So do as many as you can. If you can do 10, 10, 10, and 10, that's amazing. Take a rest or go straight into the next one if you can. You'll be an absolute weapon if you can. Or try and stay around 3 or 4 of each so that you get a nice consistent amount of movement. You're changing it up between each thing, and then a minimum amount of rest, a minimal amount of rest. I want you to work on this today for around about 5 minutes, and that's it. Day 3 done. Day 4 is a super capacity, steady kind of workout, multimodal domain, whatever you want to call it. It's a general CrossFit-y style workout. It's 250 meter run, and then 5 pull-ups, 10 press-ups, 15 squats. You're going to do that round, 40 minutes, as many rounds as you can. The purpose today is not to absolutely bury yourself, it's to go nice and steady, keep the heart rate high, and swap between those movements, get back on the rowers, recovery, whatever you want to do. But it's a nice long one, do a nice warm-up to start with, hit some mobility to finish, and that'll end your week well. And that's that. So we'll see you next week to get into the thick of the actual programs. We're going to add some weights. We're going to use some of these movements. You might even see some new ones. But as always, if you've got any questions, please send them over. We'll gladly help. Until next week, peace.
Just thinking about it, it's got me way up. There's something about this life that really makes me wanna breathe. It keeps me headed towards some things I really gotta see.